Hey there guys, Jordan in the know here, and the 2022 Fire 7 tablet came out a few months ago in late June. Since then, I've been using this tablet almost every day in some kind of way. 99% of the time, it has been to consume content, and at this point, I'm finally ready to share some thoughts with you on this tablet in hopes that this video will help you decide if this tablet is worth your time and money. Keep in mind, this is the version with ads on the lock screen just because it was the cheapest model that they had available, and I know I'm not the only one that's going to buy the cheapest model. Other people will probably get it too, and if you're like me, you've probably never used a device with built-in ads before. So I hope this helps, and with that said, let's get right into it. To me, the only reasons I can see why this tablet would be on anyone's radar is because of the small 7-inch display size, the small compact nature of the tablet itself, and its price. These reasons are completely valid, so we will talk about those aspects first since it's probably the most important part, then we're going to get into the other aspects after that. First, let's talk about my experience with this 7-inch screen. Amazon really wants you to be able to use this tablet to consume content and play games, read books, and casual web browsing, which are all fine experiences for the most part. I've noticed the bigger screen does allow for more content to be shown, which is nice, with that added benefit of being physically smaller than a 10-inch tablet. And this tablet is almost in the form factor of smartphone territory, which makes for an awesome little device to consume content on if you want a little bit more screen to work with. The issue though is when it comes to streaming video. This tablet's resolution is 1024 by 600, and at this resolution, watching Hulu, Netflix, Disney Plus, whatever your streaming app of choice is, I hate to say, is going to look terrible. To me, the resolution is so low, it's almost distracting. And don't get me wrong, I get it. It's a cheap tablet, we gotta keep the price down. I do understand, but chances are it's 99% more likely that any phone that you have laying around made within the past 10 years has a better resolution screen than this. So I'll leave the choice to you if this low resolution screen is worth it to you when it comes to this 7-inch tablet. To me, it just straight up is not. I would personally recommend the 2020 Fire 8 HD instead, since it's at least 1280 by 800 and in the same general price range, which for adult use makes complete sense to me. For kids, however, I have to say this is the perfect tablet for them, especially when it comes to streaming. They won't be able to tell the difference between 1024 by 600 versus 1280 by 800. They'll have no idea. They won't be able to tell the difference, and honestly, probably won't even care as long as they can watch Teletubbies or whatever the kids watch these days. So for kids' use, I wouldn't even worry about it or think twice. The next reason people would look at this tablet is for the design, and not because there's anything groundbreaking here going on with design, but specifically the small 7-inch form factor, which makes complete sense. Something I've overlooked as a tech enthusiast was how many people find it useful to have a larger screen that can fit anywhere, like a bag, a purse, or maybe even the glove box of their car. And alongside that, some people just simply want to watch content on a small, light little tablet. And if you're one of those people, this is the perfect tablet for you. Well, given the screen issues we talked about earlier anyway. This thing is light, pocketable, easy to hold in one hand, and literally fits anywhere. The portability is a seriously underrated feature of these 7-inch tablets, which makes me want to take a longer look at the entire industry with tablets of this size so that I can find the one that's right for me. If you want to follow along with this journey, feel free to subscribe to see those videos when they do come in the future. I'm really intrigued with the 7-inch tablet size, especially after having this one, so there's bound to be more on this channel in the future. Moving on, the rest of the design isn't really anything to write home about, and honestly just barely gets the job done. To give more context here, there is matte plastic on the back and the corners that does still scratch relatively easily, like the 2019 model that I talked about in my 2019 Fire 7 review. All I would recommend is to get a case because I don't get a strong sense of durability with this tablet. This plastic is probably guaranteed to be chewed up if it drops on concrete one single time. And something about this tablet makes me feel like a single solid drop, even indoors, would definitely break this tablet on impact, so just keep that in mind. And finally, the last big reason you may want to pick up this tablet is the price per performance. Because it's so cheap, the natural questions you may be wondering is how fast this tablet is, or maybe you're thinking the opposite end, which is how slow can this tablet possibly be? Both are valid questions, and I would say this tablet's definitely on the slower side, or slower than average. And it's going to be based on your intended use, whether it's fast enough for you or not. In my experience, for the content consuming use case, it's absolutely fine. Sure, apps take a second or two to load, and some lag will come in the meantime, but overall, for the entertainment use only, it's fine. From streaming video to reading books, playing casual games, it all works well enough, at least for me. I still feel the same about this tablet as I do about the 2019 one, where I personally would not use this for business use. I probably spend about 30% of my time waiting for apps to load, and in the entertainment use case, that's fine. I can wait. No problem. But you don't want this getting in the way of you making money. This tablet is too slow for any serious use in my opinion, but I keep coming back to this perspective over and over and over again. This is more than perfect for kids' use. So that's my experience with the top 3 reasons people would get this tablet. For those of you that may want to know more, we are now getting into some of the nitpicky, deeper aspects of this tablet, like the battery, the speakers, and some smaller things that bothered me that if you're picking up this tablet, I'd want to know about it. So let's get into some of those things right now. The first thing you should know about regarding this tablet is the Amazon App Store. In my opinion, the app selection here is maybe 1/4, 1/5 of what's available on the Apple or Google Play Store. Because of that, a lot of apps that you might be expecting just simply aren't available. For me, things like Mozilla Firefox browser or Game Boy emulators are what comes to mind in terms of what I thought was missing. And I know that everyone's needs are going to be different, but a simpler way to put it, if you aren't using the most massively popular apps like Netflix, Hulu, Facebook, Twitter, etc., then it's most likely not available in the Amazon App Store. Of course, if you have kids, this is actually a good thing in my perspective, because the chances that they find some kind of malicious app are basically zero, which is a great selling point if you can't monitor what your kids are up to all the time. A lot of these apps are literally like cheesy, stupid kids games, which if you're a grown adult and you actually want to unlock the full capability of an Android-based tablet, there are many tutorials out there on how to install the Google Play Store, and I highly recommend it. This tablet's potential with the Play Store is on a complete another level, and it makes for an even better Android tablet with that capability. So please, if you can, download the Play Store, unlock the full power of it. You, in my opinion, won't be disappointed if you choose to. Another thing that I wanted to let you know about were these speakers. Normally, I wouldn't even bring them up here, but in this case, they were a little bit annoying to work with, and I just want you to know before you pick this up, these speakers are just easy to cover up, even on accident due to the placement, which I'm sure happens all the time here. But the truly annoying part here is the volume output. Basically, in order to hear well with the tablet like 2 feet away from my face, I have to have the volume at like 90% or above, which is kind of ridiculous. Anything below that and the sound is so quiet and it's pretty hard to hear dialogue, for example. A better way I can phrase it is the Fire 7 tablet at 100% volume is equivalent to my Pixel 3 XL at 50% volume, which blows my mind, but again, all I can think is that's what you get with a cheap tablet. So for someone who wants a more powerful, more capable tablet, I'd be pretty frustrated with these speakers. Just keep that in mind. The next thing I wanted to take a quick look at was the cameras. Just so you know, they are definitely here only as a formality, only to be able to say this tablet has a camera. And I don't think there's any true benefit to having them here besides the fact that it's better to have terrible cameras than not at all. Again, for kids, this is more than enough, but for adult use, I just don't see the point. Maybe for video calling, of course, but the rear camera, I don't know what to say. The photos aren't sharp enough to read text, so you can't use it to scan documents. And the quality in full sunlight is also blurry and gross looking, so I wouldn't even want to share these photos on social media. I wish I could be more descriptive here, but just take my word for it and just don't bother with these cameras. Don't buy them for the cameras. Don't buy them to be able to rely, at least on the back camera. The front camera, of course, you can use for video calls, but the rear camera, in my opinion, is a lost cause. And like I said, it's better to have them here than not at all, but that's not really a huge compliment. So now I want to talk about the experience with the lock screen ads. Surprisingly, there's no hindrance on the operating system from what I can tell. In my experience, I noticed they don't load oftentimes, or they load and reload, or they load and unload, and then it just goes back to my normal lock screen. If anything, I just gotta be honest here, the biggest loser seems to be Amazon, as when the ads do actually load, I don't know anyone who would actually interact with them, besides kids, I guess. Most of the time, the ads are for these low-effort mobile games, and I just ignore them. Either way, there are both paid or free ways to remove these ads, with some tutorials out there, which is something to keep in mind for those who are technically inclined. If this was my everyday device and I used it 24/7, I might consider going through the process of getting them removed, but for now, they're just super easy to ignore and doesn't hinder my experience too much, if at all. Finally, the battery is something that we're just going to talk about real quick here. Amazon says 10-hour battery, and I believe them, is the best I can say. Personally, I haven't used this for 10 hours straight to test it, as I don't know what I would do on this tablet for 10 hours straight, or on any device for that matter. So from my experience, I use it a few hours a day and I charge it once a week. So I hope that helped kind of give you some context as to what to expect. At the end of the day, a good question is, should you get this tablet? Honestly, don't buy this for grandma, or if you're a student or a business owner or a gift for your significant other. Just being honest, with adult use, you're going to notice the cheapness of this tablet, and after a while, you're just going to want to buy something else anyway that's at least faster or has a higher resolution screen. For kids, this is still the definitive tablet, as it's cheap and, I hate to say it, but effectively disposable if a kid ends up destroying it. It is a cheap expense to get them another, which to me is a huge selling point as a broke young person, as someone who's starting to have family members to get into that 3 to 11-year-old range. It doesn't break the bank at all to pick up one of these guys as a gift for a kid. I'd say this also, it's great if you're an avid reader as well, since you can easily travel with this and the screen is just the right resolution to read. Not to mention, this is basically one of the cheapest e-readers on the market right now. So if you're a reader, this is basically your secret weapon here. Other than that, guys, that was my full review on the 2022 Fire 7 tablet. It is still a great option if you don't already have it, even though I will say, if you have the 2019 version, which is the official previous version that has been released before this one, I personally wouldn't upgrade it. I don't see much of a reason to upgrade unless you cannot live without USB-C. With that said, guys, I am getting out of here. This has been Jordan in the Know. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you, hopefully, in the next one.
Thank you.